more. Republican Congressman and former presidential candidate Ron Paul is joining us now. Hello, Congressman. How are you?
Good. Nice to be with you.
You know, the more I read of the Founding Fathers and the more I read your words, they're almost interchangeable. Let me start with the words of Thomas Jefferson. Here it is. I sincerely believe that banking establishments are more dangerous than standing armies, and the principle of spending money to be paid by posterity under the name of funding is but swindling futurity on a large scale. Wanted to get you on because I don't know if futurity is a real word. Futurity. Any idea? No.
Yeah, I'm not
okay.
positive.
Anyway, Thomas Jefferson is basically saying the banks stealing from our children and funding us is a really bad thing, and the banks are a really bad thing when we get into bed with them. And that's exactly what we're doing. You've been crying out in the wilderness for a long time, and people haven't really been listening to you. And you know what, Congressman? I don't know if they're listening to you yet. What's it going to take?
I think it's going to take a collapse of the dollar because there's no intent here in Washington to change its ways. We're spending more, borrowing more, and printing more, and that's why we're in the trouble that we're in. So since we're not going to do that, all the burden is placed on the value of the dollar. You can't create trillions and trillions of dollars and think we can bail out all the bad investments. And yet that's all we seem to be doing here. And it's sort of contagious. You know, we have appropriated money to bail out so many big companies and big banks already. It is the excuse for coming back, and nobody can be denied now. Now you can say, well, so-and-so needs money, and and they're logical. They say, well, if you bail out the big banks and AIG and all these companies, why not bail out the little guy? So the bailout is a disease, it's contagious, it's ongoing, and the result of this will be the destruction of the dollar, which to me means runaway inflation and political chaos. So it's very, very dangerous.
Hang on, because you're saying runaway inflation. You're meaning Weimar Republic, wheelbarrow full of money kind of stuff to buy a loaf of bread. Is that the kind of inflation you're talking about?
I think it will end before it gets that far along. They'll come to their senses, but it's going to be bad. But everybody's lulled to sleep and say, well, there's no inflation. But if you measure inflation by the increase of supply of money, I mean, we're doing it, so the inflation is already here.
Well,
the effects have yet to be known.
Right. I talked to Stephen Moore at the Wall Street Journal, and he talked to the Treasury. It looks like we have increased the money supply by 70% since October. They're running these presses 24 hours a day. The effects of this, you're saying, will destroy the currency. So then what happens? What do we replace it with, or what? I mean, that sounds crazy, well, Congressman.
Yeah, but you'll have to start over again with a new system. And the history shows you have to go back to a sound currency that the people will believe in and have trust in. Right now, the trust in the system, which was the Bretton Woods financial system, that trust is gone. That's why it has seized up and it doesn't work.
Okay,
the dollar is still accepted, and they're relying on the trust in the dollar, but I believe that'll come to an end.
You know, Congressman, there's one group of stories that I don't see covered in the media at all, and we're looking into it, and that is all of these countries are allies. We have France, we have England, we have Germany. They just met 2 weeks ago over in France, where they talked about a new sort of capitalism where government has a role at the table. Also, they're all talking about some sort of a new currency, that there needs to be a new gold standard, which unfortunately for us, the dollar is the world's gold standard. I don't see any coverage of this anywhere, and it seems to me that would be kind of an important story for the American people to know about. Can you give me any update on this? Are you following this story?
Well, no, they deny that information to us. Matter of fact, the other day when Bernanke was supposed to be before the banking committee, I complained about it that he didn't show up, but he was in Basel, Switzerland, meeting with all the other central bankers, talking exactly about what you're talking about. But under the law, they're not required to tell us anything. And that is why I'm working so hard to try to get transparency of the Federal Reserve.
Okay,
the responsibility falls on the Congress.
Real quick, just two quick questions. Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of Treasury, any comment on that? Or Secretary of State?
The state?
Yeah.
I think policy is going to remain the same. I think foreign policy is dictated by individuals who control both the Republican and the Democrat Party, so don't expect any significant change in foreign policy.
And the Secretary of Treasury, Geithner, should he be the guy or not?
Well, no, I don't think so. I mean, we just gave him $350 billion, and he doesn't know what he did with it exactly.
Is he going to be?
It was mismanagement. So we're going to give him another $350. I suspect that he will be approved.
Okay, thank you very much. Congressman, we'll talk to you again. Now.